Ooh, I bet you didn't expect me. But then again, neither did the Eagles. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to back but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. I told you the league was chaos. Grossi, and today we are going to be breaking down the top 10 teams heading into week 11 of the NFL. And honestly, more than any season in recent memory, this season has truly been chaotic. I don't know of another season that I can recall where we were in week 11 and I didn't know if any team was actually good. You had the Eagles getting defeated, losing their undefeated season against the Washington Commanders. The Cowboys being beaten by the Packers. I know that's a self-burn, but we're honest here. On top of that, the Bills losing to the Vikings. And all of this is just strange. It's a strange new world. And here we are trying to see if there's any good teams in it. So with that, let's start off with number 10. At number 10, we got the San Francisco 49ers. Well, it's an interesting strategy that Shanahan has for San Francisco right now. It's, oh, you got a whole lot of Christian McCaffrey and you're expecting that? Here's Elijah Mitchell. And it really seems that the strategy is just to bore the other team to death with their play calling.
You are boring me to death, and I am already dead. You're boring me back to death.
And the 49ers just tiptoe into the end zone. It's like a real-life board game of Don't Wake Daddy. Yeah, that's a deep cut. But the 49ers getting the job done against the LA Chargers. And all they really did was run the football, and they did it efficiently. The Chargers are one of the most injured teams in the league right now. They are just god-awful. 49ers defense took advantage of that. And the 49ers really didn't impress me with anything that they did. But in a league where consistency is so rare this season, the 49ers have been relatively consistent. They have so many weapons on offense, though you won't see a lot of that high-flying offense this past Sunday. But they're getting the job done, and that's all that matters. The Seahawks fell in Germany to the Patriots, and so the 49ers right now are on this list representing the NFC West because, hell, there ain't any other team that's going to do it, looking at you Rams and Cardinals. So the 49ers make the top 10 at number 10. What game will they bore us with next? Who knows? But it'll probably be enough to beat the Packers in the playoffs if my Packers even make the playoffs. Number 9, you got the New York Jets. Enjoying a bye week this week, but we haven't forgotten about the Jets. The Jets just sat on the couch and let this week unfold, and they were greatly rewarded. The Bills are now in third place in the division. The Dolphins are in first place, and the Jets have an opportunity to be in first place in the AFC with a win next week. Yup, that's where we are, folks. It's week 11, and the Jets could be the top team in the AFC East. Does it make sense to you? Because it doesn't to me. The Jets obviously losing Breece Hall a few weeks back, and that was definitely a downer, but their defense is frackin' phenomenal. They're a well-coached team, and they do enough on offense to get it done. Zach Wilson, there's some question marks about him as he continues to grow and try and be a franchise QB, but it really doesn't matter. The Jets are just overachieving at this point, and they're a part of the best division in football. So as long as the Jets keep on winning, they're still going to be in the top 10, and that's why they're at number 9. Number 8, you got another team that was on a bye week, and that is the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens trying to get as healthy as humanly possible for the later stretch of the season in a very winnable division. We talked about their returning players from injury on defense, which should be a big boost. They still don't have their 2 starting running backs back there. Hopefully at some point they'll get a little bit healthier when it comes to the ball carrier, but Kenyon Drake is playing good football. Lamar Jackson always explosive, and with the way that Josh Allen is playing, his contract is going up and up by the day. That guy is seeing dollar signs every single time he wakes up.
Yesterday's price It's not today's price.
So the Ravens remain on this list at number 8. We'll see how they play against the Panthers next week. But overall, I think the Ravens will continue to ascend on this list. Number 7, you got the Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? The Cowboys coming off a bye week, feeling confident. Offense was clicking, defense playing well. And then they ran into the juggernaut. The team that lost 5 straight. To the Lions, to the Commanders, to the Jets, to the Giants, to the Bills. The Green Bay mother-loving Packers, and lost in OT. Now, I know there's some controversy because of the Jair Alexander, what looked like it was pass interference. But even if we take that out of the equation, Dak Prescott not looking so good, throwing 2 interceptions. They were running the ball well, then they stopped running the ball. Mike McCarthy getting nostalgic and helping the Packers win again, going for it on 4th down in overtime and turning the ball over and allowing the Packers to march down the field. The Cowboys, I still think, are in a good position, especially because the Eagles lost, though. The Cowboys are going to wish they had this one back. It's a competitive NFC, but it's a weak NFC. The Cowboys should still be making the playoffs unless they have a complete and total collapse. But right now, the Cowboys fall down to number 7, and it's all because of the Green Bay mother-loving Packers. Number 6, you got the New York Giants. The Giants, off the back of Saquon Barkley, getting another W, this time against the Houston Texans. And I see a lot of people chirping out there. They're talking about the Giants, they're not beating good teams, blah, 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 blah. And they said the same thing about the Eagles. And now the Eagles lost to the Commanders. And here, the Giants didn't lose to the Texans. So guess what, folks? A win is a win. The important thing is the Giants are 7-2 right now. Hell, they could be leading the division in a couple of weeks if things fall their way. They don't have the most difficult of schedules remaining, and I imagine they're probably going to make the playoffs. The Giants are only playing the schedule that's in front of them, and they're doing it pretty well. Yes, they lost against the Seahawks a couple weeks back, but I think with a strong running game, if their defense is able to improve and Daniel Jones doesn't make too many mistakes, they're going to find themselves in the playoffs in January, and I just hope they don't kick out the Packers to do it. Number 5, you got the Buffalo Bills. Bills, baby, what's going on here? The Bills falling to the Minnesota Vikings, which is now giving some validity to the Vikings. And for that, I can never forgive you, Buffalo. There's some strange things going on with the Bills. Ever since that second half of the Packers game, Josh Allen looked off. This is before his injuries. Threw a couple interceptions, threw some bad picks against the Jets, and again, threw some picks against the Vikings. Fumbled the game away from the 1-yard line into the end zone. And everything that could have gone wrong for the Bills went wrong. Except the refs missing the incompletion by Gabe Davis and also having 12 men on the field. But everything else went wrong. And I know people are going to be panicking right now. The big thing is Josh Allen. Is he going to get healthy? And when he is healthy, is he going to stop making these bad decisions? Because they are an offensive juggernaut. They are, of course, one of the best offenses in the league. Their defense is pretty darn solid, though Von Miller did have a very quiet day. And the Bills are just kind of going through that mid-season slump right now. As I said before, they dropped to number 3 in a very competitive and strong division. And right now, the Chiefs are on top of the AFC. That could come back and bite them later, as they might be having that rematch in Arrowhead, and that's even with a Bills win over the Chiefs this season. The Bills need to get things sorted out. I do think they will, which is why they remain in the top 5, but they can't drop too many more games, or they might find themselves out of the playoffs, considering how good their division really is. Number 4, you got the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are basically the East Coast version of the San Francisco 49ers, or at least they have to thank the 49ers for all of it. Jeff Wilson, Mike McDaniel, all those draft picks which turned into amazing players, and the Dolphins absolutely stomped the Cleveland Browns. They looked like one of the best offenses in the NFL, and quite honestly, looked unstoppable. You got Jeff Wilson and Mike McDaniel protecting Tua, telling him not to run.
You're not part of the Turbo team! Don't run! You don't run with us! We're the ones who run! Until you're part of this Turbo team, walk slowly!
and everything clicked for the Dolphins, and their arrow is pointing way, way up. Tua is playing his way into MVP considerations. The defense is playing pretty solid, and that offense, there's just so many weapons. Whether it's Raheem Mostert, whether it's Jeff Wilson, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, they could beat you just every which way. And considering now they're at the top of the AFC East, it's going to be real interesting to see that rematch against Buffalo in December. But right now, the Dolphins are in control of their own destiny, and that destiny is looking pretty good. Number 3, you got the Philadelphia Eagles. Not going to drop them down too far. They were going to be my number 1 team once again, but losing to the Washington Commanders on Monday Night Football. And yes, there was a really bad face mask that they missed on Goddard, and that wound up turning into a fumble and 3 points for Washington. But the Eagles had so many chances to win that game. Terrible turnovers by the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts making some very questionable throws. They got away from the run game, and it really just seems like they were in a funk. They looked beatable against the Houston Texans, who ran the ball efficiently, and now they were beat by the run game and Taylor Heineke of the Washington Commanders. They are missing Jordan Davis desperately for a run defense, as he was put on IR in early November. He should come back relatively soon, but yeah, they're going to need him to hurry up. The Eagles are too talented, especially on the offensive side of the ball, to be putting up these kind of performances. But hey, maybe this is going to take the pressure off of them. And at the same time, I really can't blame them, because it seems that all undefeated teams lose to the Washington football team and/or Commanders. And next week is going to be against the Colts. And as long as you don't lose to Jeff Saturday, you should be all right. Number 2, you got the Minnesota Vikings. And I hate to say it, but they're legit.
Oh my God, he admitted.
And it pains me so much, and you could call it luck, you can call it turnovers, you could call it being in the right place at the right time, you could call it anything. The Vikings defeated the Buffalo Bills in an absolute crazy ending of a game. Justin Jefferson is going to get all of the money thrown at him. Kirk Cousins, efficient. Run game with Dalvin Cook, real good. They have a lot of weapons. The offensive line is better. These are all good things working for the Vikings. They're way ahead in their division, should have it locked up by the end of the month, if not early December. And right now, yes, there are some shades of the 2019 Packers, but who cares? The Vikings are freaking good. Oh my God, what kind of world am I in? And while it absolutely pains me to see this, the Vikings are just continuing to put up W's. They might work themselves into the number 1 seed in the NFC if the Eagles drop a few more games, and that is absolutely horrifying. And so yeah, the Vikings, congrats. You've made my life even more miserable. And number 1, a new number 1, you got the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs taking care of business against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That offense, man, it's just unfair. And now apparently Kadarius Toney is also really good, or at least now he's being utilized well. Patrick Mahomes having an MVP-like season right now. The defense is underrated, and yes, it is against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They didn't blow them out or anything. But the Chiefs, they're playing consistent, good football. They've had some close calls. They've had some bad losses. But right now, in this season, what team is better than them? Truly, the Chiefs have like the best offense in football. They can go toe-to-toe with a team like the Dolphins and the Bills, even though they did lose to the Bills. And right now, I just believe in Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes right now. So they capture the number 1 spot. They are atop the AFC for right now. And for me, they're the best team in football.
Meow.
So to recap, number 1, you got the Chiefs, 2 Vikings, 3 Eagles, 4 Dolphins, 5 Bills, 6 Giants, 7 Cowboys, 8 Ravens, 9 Jets, and 10 49ers. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who makes your top 10? Should the Seahawks still be on here? And if they are, should they be at 9? 9? Let me know. You guys find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or TomGrossiComedy, all social media see down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.